So often in sales and in business over the last, say, 10 years, you go on any internet marketer site, you go on any salesperson site, they all say you have to build a list. And that is 100% true. So how do you start building a list of clients and prospects to market to? And that is hugely important. So there's two things you need. You need the list, and two, you need a congruent message with an X factor in it. But before we get to the X factor and that congruent message, let's just talk about how do you build a list. Now I want to talk to you about two different ways to build the list. Now the first way I kind of talk about is, if you ever heard of the story of R.U. Darby. And R.U. Darby strategy here is really, how do you build a list from what you already have and the people you already know. And then I'm going to take it a step further in how to break down that list. But the R.U. Darby way is this. So during the gold rush, R.U. Darby went out west. And as he was going out west, he wanted to strike it rich in gold. So he went out and he found what was to be the richest gold mine ever discovered. So he didn't want to tell anybody, and he didn't have money to actually buy the tools to go mine for gold and dig for gold. So what he did is he went back east to raise some money. So he went back east to raise some money. And as he got his money, he went back out west, and he went and bought all the equipment to mine for gold. And so he was mining for gold, drilling for gold, and nothing was coming up. And he was just defeated. He was out of money. He was out of energy. He was not striking gold. And so he sold all his equipment to a surveyor down the road, because he had to go pay back all his investors out east. And so the surveyor went back out there, and it found that he was only 3 feet from gold. What he was digging along some kind of a main that was preventing him from hitting the gold. And if he would have just went 3 feet further in the one direction, he would have struck gold. See, we're all 3 feet from gold. See, we all are, Kevin Bacon's 6 degrees of separation from our success. We're 6 degrees of separation from our goal. So how do we mine gold that's right in front of us? Where's our 3 feet so we can get to gold? And that is your personal list. See, we provide a memory jogger to develop your personal list for your business. Now, if you're in real estate or doing something that's more B2C, this is a great way to do it. You have a personal list. I'm going to get to if you're B2B and breaking down other lists. But how do you develop your own 100? And just like R.U. Darby, you have to think, I'm 3 feet from gold. And so how do I come up with 100 people that I can market to consistently? And remember, you can't just come out of the gate and say, hey, do you want to buy? Now, some people are going to be ready now, and some people are going to be ready later. You got to kind of have the attitude of the girl who sold the most Starbucks cookies. They said, how'd you go out and sell the most cookies ever? And she said, I just always thought some will and some won't. Some will and some won't. And she just kept asking. But when you're building that first 100-person list, let's just say that you don't know where they're at in the sales cycle. We like to use real estate all the time because real estate has a 7-year cycle. The average house turns over every 7 years. So if you have a 100-person list, you don't know where they're at in that cycle. No matter what you're selling, there's a certain cycle. So if you have that 100-person list, you got to figure out where they're at in the cycle and not come out of the gate hounding them for a sale, but bring them through the 4-meeting process. Maybe it's a 5-6 meeting process. We start with a 4-meeting baseline. So how do you start with that 100-person list? And then also is how do you then market to that list through content marketing? So go out there and start with your 100.